Hello, my divine, infinite human beings. You're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm your host for the Infinite Human Talk Show, and I am thrilled to be here in this sacred cyber moment that we have together to talk about a very important topic. Ascension symptoms. Now, I know we are all feeling these powerful frequencies, these ascension frequencies. So, we're going to talk about them, the symptoms that you may be having, and how to navigate through them because they're only going to get more and more intense. And that's a good thing. I know it might not feel like it at times, but it is a very beautiful thing. It's something that we've been waiting for over 260 billion years. So it's good, but it doesn't feel good. So if you're experiencing, for example, strange aches and pains all throughout your body, different parts, perhaps you have it one place and then it moves to another place. And just when you think you've resolved it, it shows up someplace else. Or maybe you have headaches, migraines, maybe you're feeling your eyes are blurry, your vision's real blurry. Perhaps you're feeling extremely tired and fatigued and just sleeping, or you might be really high strung, very nervous, just having a lot of anxiety and maybe even panic attacks. Now we're kind of moving into a lot of digestive stuff. It's been coming in and out, so our whole digestive tract is upgrading. I was sharing with my Infinite Human co-creating a new Earth group the other day that I haven't been hungry, and I fasted for 6 days and I didn't even miss it. And that our true divine Krystic template is breatharian. So of course we're all upgrading our whole GI tract, which is very taxing if you think about it, gathering food, looking for food, preparing food, cleaning up after your food, and then eating your food, and then digesting your food, and then having it come out or hoping it comes out. If you're not constipated, the whole food drama. But I know we all enjoy eating still, so we're probably going to still be doing that for a while. But you also may be feeling I've talked to a lot of people and they're feeling aches and pains, some of them on their left side, which is their feminine side, some on their right side, a lot of jaw, neck pain, because kind of opening up the whole throat chakra to be able to express and speak freely once and for all. So these things, these aches and pains that are so difficult, and some people are even having diseases and serious diseases, cancers, or ancestral diseases that you've carried in your junk DNA that is now purifying, so you can release the 12 strands in your junk DNA that is going to reconstitute your Krystic vehicle. So this is a huge leap, a quantum leap, that we're going from a carbon-based 666 beastie body that's been so tampered with, so downgraded, filled with all kinds of overlays, all kinds of Metatronic reversals. They've scrambled the fire letters and reversed and unbraided our DNA strands. They've, tampered with we put implants and sexual misery implants all throughout our sexual organs, and just put pineal cages around our pineal. So as this dissolves, as these low frequencies purge themselves, it's got to come out. And I described it as like water. You have to keep running the water. So, all the gunk and the dirt and the debris finally clears itself out. So you get a nice, pure, crystal clear stream of water, which is what we're doing, because we're upgrading, we're restoring, we're transmuting our carbon-based body into a crystalline, into the diamond body, the crystalline, luminescent, 12-stranded, Krystic, infinite, divine blueprint. We're returning to that. And it's a process. It's a process. So the best thing that that I can do is to help you, just from my own experiences, and to kind of give you the mindset, because it's happening and you want it to happen. And we're in unprecedented times. This has never before happened in this time matrix, and it's really been an experiment for many time matrices. So we're the vanguard. Those of you that are especially feeling it the most, that means you're part of the first wave. You're my tribe. I'm looking for you, and you're looking for me. We're all looking for each other, because we're ascending rapidly to be the founders, to be the co-creators of the new earth. So this is why we're getting pounded, perhaps, like being in an elevator and going from ground floor to the 76th floor, skyrocketing, because the times are calling for this. We're in the last 5 centuries. I mean, 5 centuries, 5 years of a very powerful decade. I mean, we've seen the 20s, and this has been really when the frequency war has come to a head, and there's two different agendas that are running. And the truth is, the crystal timelines, the organic timelines have taken hold. So now they need us, the ones who had soul contracts, to be the co-creators, the founders of the new earth, to get up to speed, to get into I call it our infinite human shoes, so we can connect our 12 strands with infinite God source, download our assignments, get clarified on our soul mission, and remember why we came here, so we can get started, get the show on the road, because these next 5 years are crucial. We're really creating the future of the whole time matrix. We're creating the future reality. So if it's uncomfortable, if it's difficult, if you're blissful 1 minute and then in the throes of sorrow and depression and suicidal the next, just try to step back. Try to become, as I describe in our book, The Infinite Human, the omnipresent third person presence of God, watching your life story unfold, watching it with a beautiful, compassionate detachment for yourself, and an honoring of how far you have come. And yes, you still have, quite a journey up this mountain of ascension, but there's breaks, there's beautiful moments. It's a beautiful journey, and the most important thing I can say is to remain in the now moment, because when you're looking back and kind of wishing, oh God, I want to go back down there. Or you're looking up at the mountain, you're saying, I can never get up there. So that's the future and the past, and you're not being in the moment. So just be in the moment. Maybe you're sitting on a beautiful ledge, enjoy the view. Maybe you have some folks around you, have a nice conversation. Pull out your thermos, have a little cup of tea or coffee, and a little something to snack to keep you going. But so it's just a pace, it's a process, it's a journey. And I call it the hero's journey. The hero's journey, rewriting your life story to your heroic self. So this is not just a hero's journey. This is the ultimate hero's journey, where you are becoming the ultimate, optimate you, that's purging and clearing and assimilating and alchemizing all of the trauma, all of the pain, all of the suffering, and all of your alternate identities or lifetimes in this one now moment. So that's why it may be really confusing. That's why every day for myself, I wake up, I never know how I'm going to feel. And I was sharing with my group the other day that in the mornings, I usually just take my time. I have been waking up very early, but I always take my time waking up. I'll wake up, and then I'll just lay there for maybe an hour, just kind of tuning into my body, tuning into my emotions. And many times I'll just be purging um, so many emotions. They'll be coming from my womb or my liver or my heart, or internal organs, or just pouring out of me. It might be a deep, deep grief, like a sorrow so profound. And I'll feel like, oh my God, I can't do this. But I just let it. I just feel it, because you have to feel it to heal it. Your trauma doesn't want to be healed or pushed aside like it has been so often, shoved into the shadow closet where you keep all your shadows. It needs to be brought out. It needs to be felt. It needs to be honored. And likewise with pain, if you feel a pain in your body, we were talking about this the other day. We were trying to get into in our book, The Pathway Home, we go through the body, and each part of your body has a symbol. And one of the gals had back pain. So back, and she got it. She knew that, you carry a lot of responsibility for others, for the wrong people. You need to be responsible, responsibility is your ability to respond to yourself. And we're never responsible for ourselves, but we're responsible for everyone else. So you may feel those pains in your back or your knees. I've been having knees sometimes. Some moments I'll wake up and I can hardly walk, and then they'll just go away. But knees mean you're not where are you not supporting yourself? Okay, lack of support. So ankles, big one for me. Springing into something new. That's what your ankles are like. Your springboard, so you can quantum leap. Where are you freezing up and stop and not springing forward? So go through your body. Your headaches, maybe your pineal just purging and clearing itself, your crown chakra opening, your throat, especially with women, have a lot of throat issues, a lot of thyroid issues. I had huge thyroid issues. So just take an inventory and try to find out, because as we wrote about in The Pathway Home, which is a great book for inner divine healing, we have 4 natures. We can't just heal on one. So we have to connect them all. If you have something in the physical, it relates to some emotional, trauma, emotional baggage that you're still carrying, hurts, blames, sorrow, and your mentality, your beliefs about yourself, your self-worth, your self-love. So all these things are coming into play, and they have to be dealt with. All right. They have to be purged. They have to be processed. They have to be integrated. And that's just the road ahead. That's what we've got to do. And as you do that, they will disappear. Yes, they will go away. They will go away. So everyone's feeling it. All right. Now, the first wave is feeling it more, and they're probably you. If you're listening to me, most likely you are that first wave. You're feeling it more profoundly. Of course, your sensibilities and your awarenesses are much more heightened. So you're aware of them, you're sensitive to them, and they're coming up for you. And you're probably going really, really deep, not just in this lifetime, but in patterns that have been karmic patterns that have been carried over lifetime to lifetime to lifetime inside your auric, imprint, and inside your fascia, inside the very fabric of your fascia. So this is it. You're purging it, but you're purging it once and for all. That's the good news. Now, the masses, though, you're going to see them, and they're going to be thinking, oh my God, I'm sick. And they're going to run to the medical community to make them feel better, to get a cure, to stop it. And that's the last thing you want to do, is to stop this, because they're lower frequencies that have to be released. It's like having dirty water and then you put a cap on it. You need the dirty water to keep running through the hose so the pure crystalline water can start coming through as these frequencies augment. Now, I am not a doctor. I'm a doctor's wife. That means a lot. So I also highly have a great respect for medicine, especially the old time medicine, but there are still some really good docs around. So, if you need to go do traditional medicine, please do it. You need to check in and find out what you need. I have had to. I have been humbled. I tried to get off my thyroid medication, which I know I can't do it yet. And I wreaked havoc on my body. So I had to go see a good doc, and docs are great. It's good to get blood work done too, to see where you're at with everything, to adjust your diets, to sometimes. And sometimes you need some heavy stuff. I had to take some big farm that I had purged myself from. But during this with my thyroid TSH level going up to 50, and I was having panic attacks, I had to take some Xanax just for a while. And you know what? It just wasn't even a big deal. I stopped and I was able to balance myself out now with more natural things, with like rescue remedy and things like that. So the whole point is that the holistic healing aspect of this is that these massive jolts of energy from the solar flares coming through our sun, coming from the Nomi seed, from the Schumann resonance, and we can see the proof of that because they're charting them. The space weather and the Schumann resonance is always being graphed, and you can see the spikes and the tremendous activity, which is of course affecting you because you and your mother, our Mother Earth, are one. So it's affecting you. And what you want to try to do is learn how to balance it. You have to recalibrate. It's recalibrating you to the infinite God source, crystalline spiral of life, to the proper timelines. It's recalibrating, rebalancing, realigning you to and as I say in the infinite human, the word of God, the true vibrational frequency of God source, of infinite God source. But every time it does that, especially when you get a massive jolt, like I had my whole nervous system restructured, then it is really traumatic and it wreaks havoc on your body. So you have to find ways to rebalance it. Now, of course, if you can do it, naturally, that's great. But if you need, again, some medical intervention, don't hesitate to go there, because sometimes you just need to. And sometimes the masses will need to too, because their bodies are so out of whack. They're so inundated with the lower frequencies, and they haven't been doing the work to purge that. So they may have to depend on traditional medicine, and interventions, operations, pharmaceuticals to rebalance them for a time until they can hopefully get more and more into a natural rhythm with our Mother Earth. So grounding, and I know people have said that, but grounding is so important. Now, what is that? Because some people, what is it really? Grounding is one of the simplest ways is to go barefoot and put your feet on natural stones, rocks, grass, earth, hug a tree, put your back to a tree, be around trees, go into a forest, walk on a beach, go into the oceans if you can. We have natural hot springs here. Just be in nature, be under the stars, be in the sun. The sun is very healing and activating. It's going to activate you though. And if you're getting too much sun, then maybe you need to pause a little bit, because that is loading you up with frequencies. But now if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're moving into the autumn and winter, so it's not as intense. But this summer, woo! So, just being with animals, is being in nature as much as you can. And I know a lot of us are on our devices, so if you can unplug, get out there. And also humans, that way you can we call it scaricare in Italian, upload, or you can download a lot of your energy if you're resonating high. Go and be with people and share those higher frequencies with them, and ground them into the earth. Okay. Part of your job as you are chocked full of these higher frequencies is to ground yourself, like plant your feet in and just see yourself latching onto that Nomi seed, that plasma, green, rainbow, however you see it, in the center of the earth, and just sending that energy down, downloading it into the earth. So if you're really in a high, maybe anxious, state. I mean, I had that happen this summer where I had so much energy, I just couldn't get rid of it. I didn't sleep for days. So, and this had happened to me before many years ago, and I was all by myself. I was going through this Ascension stuff back, gosh, when was it? Like almost 15 years ago, all by myself. So I just was terrified, and everyone was diagnosing me as bipolar, and I was taking the medication because I wanted to sleep, and I was taking sleeping pills and doing all these things that it would have been fine if I'd done it as a bridge, but I just kept holding on to it because I was terrified of being of ascending by myself. I didn't want to be the only Krystic being that was plugged in. So I halted my own growth. But now we're all doing this together. There's a plan, and so you don't have to be afraid, because there is some fear, moving away out of your old self, moving out of your limitations, moving out of your finite little carbon-based body and moving into an eternal Krystic, luminescent 12-stranded avatar body. So release that fear, be in the now moment. It's like looking up at that mountain. Don't look at the top. Oh, I'll never make it. What will I do up there? Just moment to moment, be in the now moment, because it's huge. But we are doing it as a collective. So every time you do something, you find a way to navigate something, you overcome a challenge, you are helping everyone that is with you in the collective and behind you, those who come after you. So we're doing this for the entire population of humanity that chooses to ascend. The only thing is, it's difficult. We've got the most difficult road because it's a path that has it's not a beaten path. We're the ones that are beating it down. We're cutting, we're cutting our path like through a jungle with a machete, and we can do it. Because if you weren't doing it, if you're listening to my voice, it means you have the tools. You came with a very, very high genetic package. You have the power. You might just be waking up to it. You might be confused. You might not understand everything. But if my words are resonating to you, that means that as you listen to me, as these things happen to you, they're waking you up more and more, and you're remembering who you are, the great, great soul that you are, and your contracts. You're remembering your soul mission. You're remembering what you came here to do. So it's a very, very exciting time. So, but how to deal with this, how to navigate through it. And, might not always be graceful. There may be moments when you just, call in sick, or, you take a sick day, you just stay at home, you scream, you holler, you bang the walls, you sleep, you zombify, you just have to go through it and purge it. And now I remember when I lost my twin soul. Oh my God, the grief was so, so immense. I was afraid to cry because I was afraid I wouldn't stop. And finally, I did start crying. It took a few years to really let myself cry because I was like just in shock, and I couldn't stop. It was like I was so afraid, oceans and oceans of tears, and I would just lay on the couch and bury my head in it and cry for 2 or 3 hours. And I remember I told a psychiatrist that, and he said, "Oh, you're a very sick girl." Yeah. But so don't let the medical community get in your mind, because this is huge. Like I said, you're going from a carbon body to a crystalline body, and you're purging not just this lifetime, but lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of thousands of them, of all this trauma that builds upon trauma that builds upon trauma. So you may start to cry an ocean of tears, but they just have to come out. You may feel so depressed that you just can't even get out of bed. sometimes. You may be very, very angry. So find ways that you can let this stuff out. If you have to go, stand on a mountaintop and scream and holler, try not to take it out on people around you, but, do things that you need to reach a catharsis. Okay. And I talk about that in the book, the catharsis. That's what in the ancient Greek theater used to do. They used to have weeks of festivals where they would put on their plays and they would all show up and they would like purge themselves by vomiting and crying and letting it all out. So you really want to just let it out. That's kind of the theme right now, whether it's, a huge orgasm or burping and vomiting or having, diarrhea. I know this sounds like, but this stuff just has to come out of all your orifices. Sweating is such a good thing to do. And we're not having the hot days now in the northern hemisphere, but if you can go into a sauna, or even I was talking about a Temasca, which was the Mayan sweat lodges that I did in the Yucatan. So powerful. So the purging is the name of the game. Feeling, letting it all out. Maybe you have to write a long letter to certain people that maybe aren't even here anymore, but you can write your letter and then you can burn it. You can get rid of the anger. You can get rid of the sorrow. You can get rid of that anxiety. You can get rid of the fear. So find, of course, constructive, healthy ways to do that. But that's going to move you, quantum leap you at lightning speed into these higher dimensions. And that feels wonderful. Because where are we going? We're going to a place, I'm getting all excited here. We're going to a place where there is no dis-ease, no more dis-ease, no more aging. You look 33 or 44, however old you want to look. You might want to look old because some people, they feel like nobody listens to me unless I have gray hairs, or I carry a staff. I look like a wizard or old grandmother, wise woman. But, you don't have to, or you can look that way, but you're in complete health, agility. You can move around and do whatever you need to do. You don't have pain or sorrow or suffering, because that's part of the existence, our true existence in the higher dimensions. That's not how we were created. We were created by the divine creator to be divine creators, to create, to be blissful, path of joy, experimenting and expressing our uniqueness and our gifts and talents, and coming together, not jumbled together, like a dysfunctional codependent family or people. You didn't do that for me, and you didn't, with expectations and with all kinds of dependencies and all kinds of parasitic, people feeding off of you. That's not how it was ever meant to be. And that's why a lot of these people are no longer a vibrational match with you. So they're just they're fading out of your life. You can no longer interface with them. Even if you see them, there's just not that connection anymore. So just let them go with love, cut any cords. If you need to do a honopopo, I always say add I forgive you to the honopopo, so you forgive them as well as asking forgiveness. But just clean up all your relationships too, because that's part of it. And prioritize yourself, because you need to heal yourself. You need to start feeling really, really worthy of taking the time for you before anyone else. You'll be there for other people. That's what you contracted to. You contracted to be of service, but first you have to serve yourself. All right. First, if you have to lay in bed all morning, feeling, crying, whatever you want to do in your bed, do it. Spend time taking care of yourself. If you want to just rest, if you want to just play, if you just want to sit under the stars or with your back to a tree or meditate in the field, do these things for yourself. Do little things that bring you joy, very simple things. Simplify your life. and look at your foods. Stop, feeding yourself things that are not a frequency match. And I'm not going to tell you, I have done all kinds of stuff about being vegan, being this, being, those are just options for you. But listen to your body moment to moment. And I want to bring up one other thing, because I know it's happened to me, and I know many of you may be experiencing this. Now, especially when I lost my twin soul, I just lost my will to live, and I was being attacked terribly. And so many of what I call the star seeds, especially the premium star seeds. And for me, premium star seeds are those that contracted to come here. They're highly genetically encrypted. We're talking like maybe 44 strands, and many of them are films from directly incarnated from the Cosmaeus. They've done the Adashia depth cycle several times. So we're talking about really great souls. Those of you that are that, and I identify with that, have been so attacked. First of all, you have been hidden in and out of time, and you have had your mind wiped. So you had no idea who you were. So you were just happily, stumbling into all kinds of stuff, being loving and light and giving, because that was our nature. But you have been tracked, you have been targeted, and you have been burdened with all kinds of implants and overlays, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So you come with a package. Plus, you also chose very ancestral miasmic families. One, to be the change, to break the chains, and also because most of these Krystic tribal Magic Grail line families have been so traumatized, especially the women. They carry all kinds of curses, all kinds of mother wounds, all kinds of dysfunctional genetic disorders. So you contracted to take all that on as a kind of a karmic overload as part of your job, because you knew you could handle it. But it has required a lot. You've been probably I know I was declared legally disabled. And, I worked with it the best I could, but, and then I was pretty much, I just spent most of my time in bed unless I had to get up and do something, just long story. It's all in the Infinite Human about dealing with it and overcoming it. So many of you have lots of diseases, all kinds of medical histories. You might be on pharmaceuticals, you might have handicaps, you might be disabled, blah, blah, blah. But that does not mean you are not extremely advanced soul. So I know for me, I used to look out, when I was like, God, I can hardly walk, and I was overweight, and I was, and right now I'm working on reversing my fatty liver because of all the big farm that I was taking. I just took it and everything. And I looked around and I saw these like thin, young, Pilates yogis eating vegan. And, I just thought, wow, because there's something that we're programmed to think that a person, that you see a spiritual person and they look a certain way and they have a certain lifestyle. All right. They're vegan, they're fruitarians, and they look, and a lot of these are young people, or they might be older, but they're really thin, they look really good. They can, do all kinds of stuff like let's say the yogi kind of image. And that does not mean they're spiritual at all. In fact, and I've been back to state, you go to these hot yoga places and these places, and I was like, I could hardly do anything, and never doing this and that. They're running off, having their little shots and shakes, and in all their little food store bars, and eating their vegan stuff. And this, and some of them, not to put them down, that's fine, and some of them are doing a great job with that. And they're powerful souls. But the major part, if you look at especially what they're eating, it's not real food. A lot of this vegan stuff, and I went to like Whole Foods and I looked at all that stuff, and it's just not non-food. And what's happening, and one of the reasons so many people are not having ascension symptoms, so many people are just moving right along, 9 to 5, pick up the kids and take the soccer thing and Halloween and Christmas and do the shopping, and without skipping a beat. And there are a lot of those is because they're not ascending, because they've chosen consciously or subconsciously the other route, the easy route, let's say, and they're being transhumanized. And that is a viable agenda, and it is happening to many people. Or some people are just kind of in between. They haven't really, made up their minds, so they're just, they might ascend at a later date. But a lot of people are being transhumanized, and they don't know it. And that is a finite. You don't want to do that. It might look easy at first, especially when they start, putting chips in you that make you look like you're 30, or you can, bionic this and bionic that, but it's finite. It takes you into a false system, and you can never ascend back wholly. So I've done a lot about that. I write about it in the books. I'm not even focusing on that anymore, but I do want to say that because I know it's hard when you're struggling, and you're doing so much spiritual deep shadow work, and you're in the throes of some difficult stuff, and other people are just like, superficial, driving along. Oh, hi, what's wrong with you? Gee, something's wrong with you. So we, in the spiritual, and I say spiritual, I call it, but it's really fake spirituality, tend to think that if you look bad, if you're suffering, if you're unhealthy, if you're upset or sad or angry or emotional, you're not spiritual. But this is not the time for that. This is the time for the shadow work, which is ugly and dirty sometimes. And, it's just coming out. Those that are tooting along and everything's fine, they're just, their closets are bulging, their shadow closets are bulging, their attics, their basements and their attics are bulging. And it's either going to come out, and they're going to, and for many of the masses, it will come out. And that's when we who are going through it first will be there for them, because we love them. We care about them. So we'll be the leaders, the teachers, the role models, and we'll have made their burden easier by doing what we're doing now. And then there are those who just do not want to face it. They don't have the courage. They don't have the gumption. They don't have what it takes. And they will take the gone fall route and return to space dust or whatever. They'll go into a fallen system, and that's not, it looks real good on the outside, but when you get in the door, I mean, we're talking like, I don't know, these dark Netflix or the movies that are coming out now, like, Riddick or the Phantom Matrix, the Phantom, you don't want to go there. So better to go through your hell of shadow work now and get it over with. And you know what? The best advice I can give you is that when you're feeling something, and I always try to do it to myself, it's hard, but when you're feeling that pain, that guilt, that shame, that anger, that whatever it is, you're feeling it, just feel it and love it, and say, thank you, because you're coming out of me. I'm letting you come out. You've been hidden. You've been there on my shoulder, perched on my shoulder, trying to steal the pen from my hand that is writing the life I want to live. You've been there whispering these sabotages, these insidious poison pen letters and words and messages into my ear. And now I just love you, because I know that by feeling you, you're coming out, you're purging. It's like when you get a splinter out, or maybe you get parasites out, you're like, come on out, come out into the light, because you just want to love it out of you. and then pay your respects. Thanks for all the lessons you taught me, the pain, the sorrow, the suffering. I don't have to do it anymore. I've suffered enough. No more suffering. And that's kind of a decision I've found I've had to, there's this little something back in our minds, and it has to do with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, because the spiritual has been probably uh, the most sabotaged, the most dirtified, if that's a word, the most we say in Italian, sporkified, the dirtiest, deepest rooted evil, which means, evil's just live, spelled backwards, anti-life messages, about sex being bad, being shameful, your body being a mortal coil, a dirty vessel, your sexual organs being something to be ashamed of, being, the devil's whatever. You can fill in the blanks, whatever you got. But and even if you didn't do, say, Catholic or religious, they're in the air. It's in the collective, that those feelings about your body, the sexual things, the shaming you for just being emotional, for being who you are, making you feel unworthy. God forgive me, I'm a miserable sinner, forgive my transgressions, all the heaping, helping handfuls of guilt that is laid onto to us, that has been in our cells, and that has followed our etheric blueprint lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And it's been punctuated, with a lot of trauma of being, flogged and whipped and raped and beaten and boiled and flayed and burnt and drowned and, all those things. So it's all purging now. So it's a huge job that's going on. And I hope you can appreciate it. Don't get lost in it. I mean, you still have a life to live, you still have things going on, which is beautiful, but do realize the magnitude of the work you're doing right now, and be gentle with yourself and be loving with yourself. Self-love is the best medicine. Dr. Peter Monroy, that was his logos. That was his prescription. Can you imagine a doctor that wrote that as a prescription? Self-love is the best medicine. But it is, so this is the time when you need to, really start loving yourself. Take a moment, look in the mirror, and tell yourself 10 times a day, at least, a million times if possible. I love you. I love you, Elizabeth, whatever your name is. I love you. I love you. I love you. When you wake up in the morning, hold your body and tell your body how much you love it. Tell yourself how much you love it. Tell yourself, congratulations, kudos to you for being alive now, for coming so far, for surviving everything that you have survived in your lifetime, all your lifetimes, because you're here in this vital now moment, because you have overcome all those past lifetimes to be where you are now, to be the heroic version of you. And the heroic version of you is the one that wins this time. It's the happy ending to this story. It's a happy ending to all your lifetimes. It's the ultimate you that ascends, that restores its Krystic, divine, infinite, true state of being. You are reclaiming all that was taken from you, all that was stolen from you. And it was all just a journey. So you're bringing with you the elixir of life, the reward of the experiences, because you learn so much. And when you get back up into the higher frequencies, the higher dimensions, and you sit around, the campfire with your true star family in the crystalline cities, you will have a great story to tell. And they love to hear it. Learn from your experiences. Learn from the telling of it. Learn from the living of your stories. And that's why we all came here. That's why we came to this time matrix. That's why we descended into the low frequencies to have these experiences, because there is no time. We have infinite amount of time. And this is where we're at now. It's such a beautiful, beautiful time of of victory, a time of living the ultimate heroic, uh, victorious story of our whole entire time matrix. And we get to be the ones that are awakening now, the ones that are reclaiming and reconstructing their infinite Krystic bodies. We get to be the ones who create it. We're right up there. We're going to be creating it with our thoughts, with our creativity, with our imagination, with our actions. We're the ones that are rewriting this story and just creating a beautiful future for all those who are behind us and who will come after us. So just take a moment to appreciate yourself and to appreciate this beautiful, beautiful, sacred space and time that you have chosen to be part of, that you have been privileged to be part of. And know that you are a very great, great and powerful soul to be here and now, in the now, to be where you are right in this now moment. So I hope this helps you. And we're running out of time. So I just want to, let's just end with just very gentle little kind of meditation affirmation as you just take a nice deep breath and close your eyes, unless of course you're driving, but you can relax with your eyes open, being very alert. Breathing in I am and exhaling peace, 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 peace. And again, breathing in I am. And exhaling. And exhaling infinite source, 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 source. And one more breath, and as you exhale, just feel yourself sinking down deeper and deeper as you're in the chair or the bed or whatever is so lovingly supporting you. And as you feel your body just relaxing into whatever's supporting you, know that the universe is now supporting you, that the old timelines have snapped, crackled, and popped and dissolved away, and you are now firmly positioned within the Krystala consciousness of the Krystala spiral of life. On this spiral, you are not a victim, you are a victor. And on this beautiful organic timeline, the universe has your back, and everything, every tiny little thing works out to your favor. There's nothing that goes wrong for you. Everything goes right. It's the golden Midas touch, which brings you abundance in every area, every aspect of your life, which brings you joy and bliss because you are now on the pathway of bliss. It brings you as you let go of all the wrong people, the people who tolerated you, the people who used and abused you, the people who didn't appreciate you, as you let go of them, new, beautiful souls that resonate with you, that finish your thoughts, that are part of your soul tribe, appear, and you feel a deep, deep connection like never before, a connection of your soul family, soul brothers and sisters. And your spirituality soars beyond the finite limitations of any group, of any religion, of any finite philosophy, of any of the sabotage messages, into the true, deep, Krystic connection that your 12 strands bring you with infinite God source. So you have the connection to all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. You are multidimensional and can get answers to any question you have at any time. And you find your mind mentally is now in charge. You are writing, you've taken the pen back and you are writing what you want to have happen. And everything you write, every thought you think happens. And your thoughts are pure, crystal clear, and positive. And you only think wonderful, beautiful things that come about as easily as taking a breath in and exhaling it out. It's that easy to manifest and create your ultimate reality. And likewise, your emotions, like dirty water, have been purged away. And now only the crystalline, clear, pure water of your purest emotions remain. These are emotions that you can trust. These are emotions that will guide you. These are the emotions that give you that gut feeling, that intuitive knowledge of what is right for you, which path you need to follow, what you need to be doing each and every moment of your life. And your physical body is healing, repairing, and your dis-ease has left. So there is no there is only ease flowing through your body, ease of infinite God source moving through your luminescent, Krystic, infinite body that is reconstructed, its divine blueprint, and its 12 strands of DNA, which is plugged into infinite source. So you are feeding directly from source. And so you are never aging, decaying, growing old, or feeling death. You are eternal, and your body is ever regenerating. And this is where you are going. So just drop down one more level into your heart of hearts, your crystalline heart, and feel it pulsing with a beautiful pink, radiant fuchsia pink energy pulsating throughout your entire being, your body, your aura. And feel that as this plasma energy also fills your plasma body with love, a deep, deep self-love, a deep love and appreciation for yourself, for the courage you've had to take this journey, for the courage and the perseverance and the strength and the abilities, talents, and gifts that you have summoned forth to be who you are right now in this now moment. And look deep into your eyes, in your mind's eye, and see that beautiful sparkle of divinity. And see this beautiful glow around your face, the radiant glow. And now see this joy of this beautiful smile from the joy that's bubbling up from within. And say to yourself, I love you, and your name as it appears on your birth certificate. I love you, Elizabeth Lee Steer Monroy. And repeat your own name over and over and over. And do this before you fall asleep tonight and when you wake up in the morning. And that's Kiki telling me it's time to say goodbye. So Kiki says goodbye, and I say goodbye. Ciao for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.